Hey everyone, what's up? Welcome to another episode of Pacific Arc Tig Welding. My name's Dusty. Today's a bit of a different episode. I was going to do a review and a general maintenance and cleanup on my Miller Digital Elite helmet. I've been using this helmet for about 2.5, 3 years. The review will be pretty simple because I love the helmet. I see nothing but good reviews on the helmet, but I'll just go over a few things that I like about it, a couple things I've changed over the years just to make it a little more comfortable for myself. I'm getting ready to do a TIG job here, make another video of some low amp TIG welding on some stainless. So as you can see, I've been doing some wire feed with it and the thing's pretty dirty. It's pretty smoked out. I can't really see much through the lens. So every once in a while I switch up, put some new lenses in it and stuff like that, as well as use some cleaning compound just to clean it up. Basically just a little upkeep I do once in a while. So I figured I'd make a little video to show you guys how I take care of my helmet. So like I said, this guy's about 2-3 years old. It's the Digital Elite 28-1000 model. It's pretty common, most people use this. There is a new generation of this helmet with a couple little things that are slightly different, but this, for the most part, is the updated version of it here. First thing I love about this helmet, it's freaking light. It's not terribly flimsy too, which is nice. You see some lighter helmets that are actually like kind of wobbly and flimsy. This guy's pretty stiff. One addition you can get to this helmet that's kind of cool is it clips onto the back of your helmet here, and it's like an air extraction. So it will pull air out of your helmet and pump it out behind you. That's cool. Those things are super heavy though. So I like using it straight up without that thing on there. I usually have extraction and fans and stuff set up around me to start with, so I don't really need one of those things. I don't like the extra weight of it. I just have it set up as is. Another thing I like about it, I used to use an Optrel helmet, but this guy is a pretty big lens. It's about 9.2 square inches, so it is one of the bigger ones on the market that has a flat lens. The headgear is the newer generation of headgear. The headgear of the past usually only had 3 pieces. It was one right across the top and always pulled my hair out. These guys here, it splits. So there's 2 bands instead of 1 on top of your head, and they're a lot thinner, so you have less weight on top of your head. I do like this. I actually set these guys off my head. They don't even really rest on my head. I usually just have the weight across my forehead and the back of my head. It's just a little thing I prefer doing. I find a lot of these holes in here, it pulls my freaking hair out and it drives me crazy. But then I don't like wearing a welding cap because I do mostly TIG welding and it pulls my hair out. I don't have a lot to spare. I have added sweatbands. The sweatbands make the headgear a lot softer on my head, a lot more comfier. I have it doubled up with 2 on the front and back. That's a lot nicer. It sits a lot comfier on your forehead and the back of your head. It doesn't sit as heavy across your eyebrows or anything like that. So doubling up on those guys makes it really nice. It's a couple extra bucks for another pack of the sweatbands, but it's more comfy, so I threw down without even thinking about it. Another thing that's cool, an improvement on these guys as opposed to the old generations, is it has digital buttons and a digital readout inside. It always has had the digital screen, but there used to be dials and stuff like that on the inside, but now it's all just the digital buttons, which I really like. The digital buttons are nice because instead of fiddling around trying to turn the dials while you have your helmet on, you just press the buttons. You could scroll through the menu really easily. It's nice, I like that. So although the panel of this one is slightly different than the newer generation that is out now, I think, it has all the exact same features. It's basically the same helmet, but the buttons are just laid out slightly differently. It has 4 different modes that you can program into it, which is kind of cool. You have a weld mode, your standard weld mode, a grind mode, which is just a static clear lens so that you can grind and basically keep the whole thing in front of your face as opposed to just eye protection. So it covers your whole face, it's a lot safer. It has a cutting mode, which is cool, and something called an X mode. Sounds pretty serious, right? The X mode is a pretty finely tuned mode, so when you're working, I find when I'm working around other people and they're welding next to me and stuff like that, you set your X mode sensitivity and you can finely tune it nicely so that someone's welding a little bit away from you and they arc up, it won't set your helmet off. So if you're standing there and you're doing some work with your mask down, it won't be dimming when other people are welding, which is nice. The cutting mode is really nice on this one. I like using it for plasma arc cutting and a little bit of oxyacetylene cutting. It's a shade 5 through 8, so it's a lot lighter, and you can set your cutting shades and save them in there so that when you scroll down to the cutting mode, it's already got your last shade saved in there, which is nice. It's got 4 different sensors on it, which is kind of nice. I like the 4 sensor setup because there's a lot of times when I'm welding around something or my helmet actually isn't facing quite square to the weld. I'm kind of peeking through the lens like this as my helmet is turned to the side. So having more sensors on it, and the sensors are in really smart places too, so you can actually not be at the perfect angle, and it will dim anytime you need it to. So another technical rating is the optical clarity rating. It has an optical clarity rating of 1112, which, to put it simply, basically this rating means that when it's not dimmed, it has a clearer lens when it's not being dimmed. So if you're doing any grinding or anything like that where it's not dimming, it will be a clearer, easier to see through lens, which is really nice. So that's about it. As far as the review goes, I love this helmet. The whole thing is also powered. Like I said, I've got a couple years on it. I've only been through the batteries once by 2 lithium-ion batteries. The batteries have lasted over 1.5 years at a time, I think. I've only replaced them once throughout the whole time I've been using this helmet. And I use this helmet every day for most of the day. The battery's recharged by sunlight or solar. I never actually have this thing out in the sun, so I guess it charges with lights. You don't have to change the batteries very often. I think it's about 3,000 hours of arc time, so that's a lot. So overall, this helmet's sweet. It's light, it's comfortable on my head. I can see everything really well. Once you get to know the programming inside of it, it's really easy. I don't even look at the menu anymore. I just know exactly where the buttons are, and I just tap my way through all the modes. But overall, I've used Speed Glass, I've used Optrel, a couple other brands. This Miller Digital Elite helmet is definitely probably my favorite so far. Just for ease of use, the ergonomics of it, and being able to see and program it finely tuned for TIG welding is awesome. All right, let's clean this bad boy up. So, for anybody that owns one of these helmets, you know how to undo everything, but it's very simple. Just 2 little buttons here, press them, pop the whole lens off, which is nice. And the whole computer part of it is right inside here. It's not clipped in or anything, so be careful not to drop it when you take it out. I've definitely done that before. It is kind of forgiving though. You have a really nice kind of rubber gasket around the whole thing. So in the event if you ever drop it, which has happened before, you're not gonna take too much damage dropping it on a cement floor. We'll put the shell aside for a second here, and we'll just focus on cleaning up all this stuff here. This guy's nice, it's just got the little clips. I have used ones in the past. The old Miller Digital Elites had a rubber gasket that went all the way around here, and then the rubber gasket had to get pressed inside specifically, and it was pretty finicky, and also over time, all the arc time would cause the rubber gasket to crack. So it's a lot nicer that they just have the simple clips on this guy. So you can take the whole rubber gasket off this guy if you want to. You can access everything you need to without it. If you ever have to replace your batteries, you will take this rubber gasket off, because these 2 things here are your battery ports. So once you pop that guy off, these guys are real easy. You just slide them out with your thumb, there's your battery there. I replaced these not that long ago, so we don't have to replace those today, but there's your 2 battery ports right there. So while you got her off, you can clean it. You can also clean it pretty easily with this thing on. But basically, I definitely like taking this guy off. There's a lot of dust and particulate and all kinds of other smoke and stuff that can get stuck in between here. As well as it's always good just to clean these guys up or replace them completely. I did replace this guy not that long ago, so we're just gonna clean it up. I argue this stuff here, Pledge, the lemons flavored stuff, is the best to redo plastic lenses and stuff like that. It's also really good for hockey helmet visors. If any of you guys or girls play hockey, this stuff is the best to redo your visor with, but it also works great for welding helmets. A couple quick little squirts. This stuff's nice because it fills in all the tiny little scratches and stuff that happen over time. There we go, we got it pretty clean. I'm happy with that. Put that aside. Now, once it's open, I will also use a very soft cloth. This is an old piece of a pillowcase. I will just lightly go over this guy with the Pledge as well. Just give her a good clean up. And then the front as well. The front, you can see a lot of the smoke from MIG welding, wire feed, flux core and stuff like that. It does collect inside the lens. It's just bound to happen with that much arc time. So I won't actually spray any of this stuff directly on the lens. I'll just put a little bit on my cloth there, because you don't want to spray anything in the sensors. Clean up the charging thing. Boom. Looks like it's brand new. So slide this guy back in. I can never frickin' remember which way this goes in, but I think this is the right way. There we go. We got the gasket back on there. A couple fingerprints, get rid of those before we seal her up. There we go. Another nice thing about this helmet is it comes with a pack of lenses, spare lenses, so you can swap them out as you need them. Trickiest part of this whole thing is trying to get the freaking tape off it. brand new lens. Nothing's better than that, I swear. I usually save these guys if I ever have a job where I have to do some stick or something like that. It's a little more crazy welding. I have a couple of these on deck so I don't have to wreck my new lenses that I just put in. And this guy just goes back in. Look at that, the dust already sticks to it. There we go. Put the clips back on. She's ready to go. The last thing I usually do to clean this guy up, spray it with some Armor All. Stuff will clean her up real nice. Get all the weld smoke off it and just kind of shine it up a little bit. Even though this is the matte finish one. There we go. Nice and clean. There we go. That's how I take care of my helmet. Clean it up every once in a while, put some new plastic on it, get it nice and shined up. It's good to go. I'm gonna do some low amp welding now and I'm gonna be able to see it real good. Really appreciate you guys watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode. A little more of an informative one, or I hope it was anyway. If you check out the rest of the stuff on my channel, I do TIG welding videos of all kinds. I do instructional videos of how-tos for beginners. I also do crazy art projects where I make crazy TIG welded stuff. So please be sure to check out those videos. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, do all that stuff. I really appreciate it. The more people that check out these videos, the more videos I'll make. So again, thanks a lot for watching. I really appreciate it. Hope you guys have a good one. Peace.